Hello there, and welcome to the first ever State of the NATO Nation. It is a unique episode in which we are actually not going to do any teaching around the inner struggles, but rather we're going to take a big picture look at, where the moment is at, how strong is the movement, where are things going, what's the vision for the future, how was the year, the year that's passed. So I hope you'll find this really valuable and interesting. And if you're looking for, teaching on insomnia, then every other episode except this one, I think will provide exactly what you're looking for. And if you're, wondering like, what is this? What is the NATO Nation? What is this all about? Maybe you're new to the channel. Well, I think of anyone who is engaging here, who is like, finds value in our teaching, who maybe comments here and there. You are part of our nation. You're part of the NATO nation. You're part of this movement that is, that we're hoping will really make a dent in the sleep universe. Change how we think about sleep, change how we view it, change how uh, everything is approached at this point in time. And in fact, I think we're seeing the movement expanding. At some point, it's going to expand even beyond insomnia, and really, I hope will change how we view any inner struggles. But that's a few words on the NATO Nation and what this is about, and we're going to look at 2022, what that has, how that has been for the movement, and look forward toward 2023. I hope you'll find a lot of value here. So I want to start with just sharing something that's exciting, which is that last year, or this year, we're still in 2022. 2022 started and ended, or will end, with a bang, is what I want to try and say. And what I mean with that is that we had a real nice growth and influx of new students here. And I want to actually illustrate that with this, the analytics that YouTube provides here. And we can see that we now have about like almost 8,000, 7,800 subscribers. And here is, how many subscribers that pop in, on a given day over the year. And you can see that there are two big spikes here. One is here, Thursday, January 6th, and then another one right here, which is December 23rd, and the days around that. And this first one happened thanks to Lone Fox, a YouTuber, who's niched in like in design, and he found my book Set It and Forget It and shared it on his huge YouTube channel, and that was a real boost for the movement. A lot of a lot of people found us then. And this latter one is thanks to an article in CNBC, which we'll take a look at some point in Heard Online, but a very recent article in the CNBC which covers our movement that led to a real nice influx as well. So the 2022, the beginning and the latter part of the year, really exciting, like a real boost to the movement there. So I want to say a big thanks to you for joining and for being here, and special thanks to also the Lone Fox, of course, and Ari at the CNBC who covered our movement. And now, what I think really also happened in 2022 was like our understanding of the inner struggles deepened in 2022. And here I don't have any numbers. This is much more intangible, but concepts like the North Star, concepts that we talked about very recently, like Psi4, signal phobia, they're going towards a place where we're not, I think we pretty much like insomnia is pretty much solved. Like we understand it very, very clearly here. But not only that, I think our understanding is becoming more generalizable, and we're starting to see how the principles that help us leave the insomnia struggle, they will really help with every other struggle. And something that I ponder a lot is how in the world of like physics, they have this concept they call the grand unification, or the great unification theory, whereby there is an idea that you can combine electromagnetism and like Einstein's works and Bohr's work and all these things which seem different, but you can combine them as like one elegant algorithm in one theory or something like that. And I often felt like there has to be something like that in our world too, in the world of like inner struggles, a theory that explains everything from, I don't know, OCD to agoraphobia to like difficulties with like dependence on smoking and drug abuse, and like weight loss issues and chronic pain and insomnia, all of that. And I feel that this is in the air, like a NATO grand unification theory is within grasps. I'm really starting to see how the concepts apply everywhere. And I am sketching on a book that's going to be called either the NATO method or maybe principles of natology, but really starting this work of unifying everything into something that can help with whatever struggles we have. And so that's exciting, and it was a big part of 2022. And then going from kind of like this like fuzzy big picture stuff now to the nitty gritty. Our movement I really saw become financially sustainable in 2022. And as many of you know, I was let go from my job in early 2021, and I was still able, thanks to the coaching work here, to pay the bills. But that was in large part thanks to, without going to too much detail, like there was a large influx of like coaching students from a healthcare organization that we worked with. So it was really, and that wasn't really something that was going to go on forever. It was a nice influx of support for myself, so I could have something to pay the bills with. But in 2022, things really started to change. I think we found how we could price our services in a way that for most people it was doable, and it made things sustainable on our end. And to show you some numbers here, I want to share this, that at Bedtime, which is our app program, that generates about 4,500 per month in revenue that comes through Google and Apple. And the Sleep Coach School, which has the Insomnia Immunity Program, which is our group coaching program, we have these one-on-one calls, and we also train coaches. All of that now generates about 15,000 per month. And then book sales now is about 1,500 per month. So if you add that up, our total revenue per month is something around $21,000, and that is sufficient. It is enough to pay for our several coaches we have, for the infrastructure of apps, like the app development and upkeep, and our virtual assistant and all the like software services, all that. And myself, like, it is now, I feel, sustainable, and that is so nice, for many reasons, but one of them is like when you hear this, some critique that can that I see naturally can come up here is like, hey Daniel, how can you even think about this, even talk about this in the context of like, people are really struggling, how can you think about money in this context? But I actually think it's important, because if we cannot successfully sell education, then the only thing that will remain that people can successfully sell are these things like supplements and gadgets and things of that nature, which we know really isn't what leads to to where we want to be. And if nobody's able to successfully sell education, that there isn't going to be that true change that we need, like the sustainable change that we need. So I think this I think was a really important part of 2022 as well. And with that said, we're going to take a look forward now into 2023, and I have 4 announcements for 2023. And I think some of these I hope will really excite you as much as they excite me. But I want to start with this one, that everything you have gotten to become familiar with and that will stay the same. Like we'll go back to our usual programming here on the YouTube channel, and our services and all that will stay the same. Really no changes there. So I want to reassure anyone who was kind of who maybe was kind of worried when you said, oh, big changes. No, that will all stay the same. But here's some initiatives that I want to share with you. One is Within Magazine, which I'm so excited about. You know how there have been many like cultural big movements in our society over the last, let's say, 100 years. And many of them revolve around like music, actually, like the beat generation, and then jazz, like that was a big change. And then we had like rock and roll kind of like became the next phase of that. And although they're centered around music, they were really cultural changes, like how we thought about ourselves and society and things of that change. And now my point is that those movements were chronicled, for jazz you had like Downbeat magazine, and for rock and roll you have like a Rolling Stone magazine, which kind of like chronicled the movement. And I've pondered this a lot. I feel like we are in a place where there is, there is sort of these like grassroots movements, kind of like the NATO Nation here, but there are many other teachers out there, many other people come together to try to change how we look at what has been called, mental health in general, and in our inner struggles. And I thought that wouldn't it be cool to like be part of chronicling this, highlighting people who are doing like pioneering work, as well as just like providing like general education. So a small group of us. It's so far it's myself, it's Sanya, who's been a guest here, it is Coach Alina, it is Nadia, who's been a guest here as well. We've come together, we're a small group now, and we're putting together this magazine. But it's really going to be, it's really an invitation for anyone who wants to join. It's going to be a new way to get involved. So if you feel like you've had a maybe transformative experience, or you heard of like somebody who's doing similar work to what we do, when it comes to something else, maybe it's chronic pain, or maybe it's like agoraphobia, or any other inner struggle, we want to cover that. And we also want to provide like education. So you're going to be invited to contribute and be part of this new magazine. And it's going to be like an online magazine that all sort of has the, almost like a blog with like I'm hoping quite frequent new content. But hopefully also every like 6 months or something, we will create like an actual physical issue that you can buy, and with a nice cover, and and all that stuff too. So that's within magazine. It's in the works for 2023. And now another initiative that I'm so excited about, which is a pilot episode for something that may become a series. And I talked with this briefly when we had David Powers as a guest just a few weeks ago. And the idea here is also to provide education. And I'm thinking of, just to give you an idea, I'm thinking something like Hoarders meets Stutz. And for those of you who are not familiar with either one of those, Hoarders is a series that's been running for a long time, where we get to know somebody who has this like hoarding tendencies in there, and just their house is just filled with things, which is really just a representation of some inner struggle, right? And then they meet some type of counselor, and they get help, and then at the end we see like the transformation when their house is like decluttered, and hopefully they have some inner transformation as well, right? That's Hoarders. And then Stutz is this documentary where I forget his name now, but it's on Netflix. A well-known actor. He's highlighting his work with his therapist, and it's going to be like, so what like working title Bye Insomnia Land here is going to be like transformation and education. So if I just to give you a picture, the vision here is that myself or Coach Michelle or some other coach actually visits someone who has insomnia, and we get to hear their story. And then we have like, we do coaching work for a certain amount a month, and we see the transformation that happens. And so I think the value is going to here is going to be like, we can actually document and demonstrate, like, and show the transformation, and also provide like practical education, so it's kind of both like hope and inspiration and education in one, within these episodes. So that's another initiative that I'm super excited about. And then Wabi Sabi is nearly there, and Wabi Sabi is basically teaching our NATO philosophy, and bringing it to families where there has been like a parent-child sleep struggle, where the parent wants to find a way to help their child to struggle with sleep. And as you can tell, it's almost hard for me to talk about this, because so often when it comes to like pediatric insomnia, it's actually not like the childhood struggles at all. It's often the parents. So, it's often not true to say like the child has insomnia, because it's really the parent who struggles with the child not sleeping. But anyways, Wabi Sabi is going to be like it's similar to what we've done here, like for adults. It's going to be a book, which is going to be called Wabi Sabi, or maybe Wabi Sabi Baby. That's in the works. It's the manuscript's nearly completed. We're going to have a group coaching program. We're going to have an app, and we already have a YouTube channel that's up and running. So if you just search, for Wabi Sabi, you'll find it. And if you're a parent, then that might be very helpful for you to tune into. So finally here, I want to say that the state of the NATO nation is strong. I'm really excited, and I believe more than ever that we can make a dent in the universe, in the inner, inner struggles universe. I feel like we have like a tailwind, and things are happening in a very nice way. And sometimes I point to this, if you go back to, I don't know, if you go back like 300 years, and people are really struggling with things like, there were famines and disease, and life was rough. If somebody had said back then that, I think in the future, there will be a future where everyone, at least in the Western world, has enough food, and has shelter, and has these things. And we actually have even more problems with like eating too much than eating too little. We almost have like too much food, in many circumstances, right? If somebody heard that like a couple hundred years ago, they probably would have been like, how's that going to happen? That's impossible. Like, look at where we are now. But but it happened, right? Or maybe I should say it is happening. But big changes has happened in that. Like, if we look at that example, and today I think we're in a place where, in much of, again, the Western world, and maybe the entire world, perhaps the greatest struggles we have are inner struggles. We struggle with anxiety, depression, insomnia, things of this nature. And to say that, I think within 50, 100, 150 years or so, this can all change. I truly believe that. And it may sound just the same, like when somebody said like 300 years ago, like that's insane, that cannot happen. I believe it's very, very possible. And I believe we have this tailwind. And I think we're beginning to see a transformation that can really, really change the human experience, truly. So I'm super excited about this. And with that said, I will conclude here, and I will just say Happy New Year, and see you in 2023. Bye for now.